This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat coming to you from the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios on this Tuesday. Couldn't be happier. Now to welcome in former IU assistant, current UNLV assistant, Coach Tim Buckley. Coach, how are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Great, man. Great to have you on here. Appreciate you. Todd Leary here as well also.
Coach, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it very much.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on with you again, Todd. I hope you guys are doing great.
Yeah, we appreciate, especially Coach is out at UNLV, so it means he's in Las Vegas 3 hours behind us. Means he got up earlier this morning to help us out coming on. We really appreciate you, but at least you're out in Las Vegas, I guess, is probably one of the best places to be right now with all that's going on. But, man, it's been a crazy summer, Coach.
It really has been. It's unique in that you coach a long time and you've never really seen anything like this, not only from an athletic standpoint, but even from a humanistic standpoint. And so we've really tried to adapt as best we can. And TJ Otzelberger, our head coach, I think he's done a tremendous job in leading our young men. And we've got them back on campus right now, and we've been safe and sound, knock on wood, so hopefully we can continue to do that.
Man, I was just thinking, Todd, we're probably going to see maybe an exodus of Indiana players from the state of Indiana heading west, because not only you got Coach Buckley there at UNLV, we talked about Alfred's up there at Nevada and Michael Lewis, who just had a birthday at UCLA. There's a big Western front from former Hoosiers out there.
Well, there's a bunch of Hoosiers in Las Vegas alone. I mean, you got Pat Knight that lives out there, and Dean Garrett lives out. Do you ever run into any of those guys, Coach?
Pat and I have exchanged messages, and we were going to try to get together, and then all of this stuff hit. But I know people have talked about running into Dean Garrett, and, I think that the West Coast, what made it really appealing to me is this is the first time in all my years of coaching that I didn't have to scrape my windows after the game.
There's a big advantage to that, no question about it.
Yeah, I can remember too many January nights at 1 a.m. walking out of Assembly Hall. That's not a fun place to be at that time.
Yeah, no, it's not. Hey, Coach, I know there's a lot of things that are different, but being a part of the AAU circuit with my kids for years, obviously, this week or, this past week would have been the big culmination of the summer and, national events out there in Las Vegas. And I'm sure you guys from a recruiting perspective – we're banking big time, or every year bank big time on that thing happening. What's been the biggest differences this summer with you guys not having all the guys being able to play in the national tournaments?
For us, we were fortunate in that we kind of got our evaluations done for a couple of classes out. And our staff, we like to recruit a small group of guys as opposed to a big group. So I think to some degree, it hasn't necessarily hurt us. However, it's really hurt a lot of the young men that would normally be out there competing and playing. And I just don't think you can get the same type of evaluation off of like streaming and that type of thing. But I do think because of the way they've relaxed maybe some of the rules a little bit in terms of Zoom calls and things like that, it's maybe found an even better and more beneficial way to communicate, and hopefully going forward, they can keep some of those things in place.
Do you think that it'll probably improve what you learn about a recruit from the standpoint of his personality and how he communicates, just like you said, probably more so than it would in the past, where you see him on the court a lot more and you can evaluate his talent a lot more. You're probably evaluating his character more than his play right now.
It is so true. And I think the way our young people communicate today, with text messaging and FaceTime and different things like that, it's very different. And so I think you find out where people are maybe in their communication skills. And then if it's somebody you're fortunate enough to have come to your school, then you know where they start from and how you can help try to build that going forward.
Yeah, I was going to ask, Coach, while you're evaluating talent, part of what you're having to do is also try to establish a relationship, which is, I guess, also part of the evaluation process. But how much more difficult has it been to get that relationship established through these different channels that you're having to use?
I think it's a little bit different in that you don't get to go out there and see them play and see how they respond to things that maybe don't go well or things that do go well. But I think we're probably over-communicating, which I think isn't too bad at all, in that you're maybe talking more on the phone, or you're doing more Zooms, or you're texting, and you're doing it in various ways. So I think you just have to look at what's most beneficial right now instead of poor me, and then just try to figure it out.
What will you guys do, like, from a recruiting standpoint? Like, this would be, like I said, the finals of AAU kind of this week in Las Vegas. But what will you do from here on out? Like, will you still try to communicate? I know I'm kind of asking the same question, but I don't know. Like, it would be very difficult, I think, to establish your first line of communication with a kid before you've actually seen him play in person. I mean, are you having to do that?
We haven't necessarily had to do that. Like I said, we've dealt with more smaller numbers, and Las Vegas is a really good area for us to recruit in. So we've been able to get out and see those guys play. So now it's a matter of more just getting to know them better and that.
Gotcha.
On our end. But I would imagine for other people, you're seeing guys not visit campus unless they did it through FaceTime or Zoom, or maybe they drove up to the campus by themselves with their family and they just kind of went on a tour on their own without the staff involved. And it's a unique time. I just think that you just got to build those bonds off the court more than maybe you normally would.
I don't think you probably got enough thank yous this year via text or via phone calls. But I know I sent you one, and IU fans probably don't even know what they needed to thank you for. But UNLV was the first team to knock off San Diego State when they were undefeated late in the season this year. And the 1976 Hoosiers were ready to crack that champagne like the Miami Dolphins do. And I know that was in the back of your mind, in the way, way back of your mind. But Indiana fans appreciate that a bunch, Coach.
Well, I'll tell you, that was a formidable group now. And to go into their facility and beat them, our guys deserve a ton of credit. And we played really good basketball toward the end of the season. We had won 5 in a row. And one of our better players, unfortunately, hurt his knee at San Jose State in the last regular season game. And we didn't have him for the Mountain West tournament. But it was really a rewarding year building up to that, because you could see how our team evolved. And, whenever you take over a new program, and I've done that several times in my career, the guys that you inherit didn't sign up for you or how you do it. And so for them to try to buy into what you want and how you do it, I thought our guys, they did a terrific job of it, and it built as we went through the season.
Coach, you spent so much time in this state. 9 years as an assistant under Coach Crean. When he was here, you coached at Ball State for 6 seasons. So you've got so many ties to this state. That's got to be great for recruiting, even out west.
It is. I think one of the things with Indiana is the basketball is so good, and the high school coaching and AAU coaching and all those things are really an advantage for the state. And I had wonderful experiences there. And, it's one of those things where as you go through your journey, to have the opportunity to coach at such a historic place like Indiana is definitely very memorable. And then to be out here now, the difficult thing is a lot of people want to come to visit Las Vegas, or a lot of people want to go to Las Vegas because of Las Vegas. And what you really have to decipher is who wants to be here to play basketball. And that's what the focus is. And so that's what we really try to dive into when we look at guys. And it's the same thing, too, at Indiana. You can't just bring guys in because they want to be at Indiana, because let me tell you now, that spotlight's really bright. And if you're not right and you're not ready to play, that thing burns you really hot.
Yeah. Well, and we know you spent several years with Alford at Iowa and New Mexico. do you have much communication with him? You guys are in the same state with him being in Nevada. Do you guys have much communication at all?
Yeah, it was so good to work with him on a lot of different levels. I learned a lot as a basketball coach, obviously as a person. We got that call every now and again from Coach Knight when he was down at Texas Tech when he felt like we needed to clean up our motion offense or something. That was always good too. But yeah, having him here in Nevada, I get to see him a couple times a year, and it makes for a tough opponent in our league. And he had done such a great job at New Mexico, and they'll look back on UCLA too, and they didn't do too shabby there as well. And I think he'll do the same at Nevada.
Vegas has got to be a unique place to recruit to. A great arena, the Thomas and Mack. I've spent probably 50, 60, 70 nights in that arena, but ironically, it was for professional rodeo, and the national finals is there in December. I've worked that quite a bit in the media, but great arena, but such a unique place for kids because really kids don't really care about Las Vegas, but it's a unique place, man.
Yeah, it really is, and I think, fortunately now, the Strip is too expensive for college students to go to. So it kind of keeps them away from there, which you definitely want to do. And it's a really good basketball city, though, and as big as it seems, it's a very small town in that regard, and everybody kind of knows what's going on here in the basketball community, and they have high standards and expectations, and that's kind of what you want out of a basketball program.
Yeah, back in the days of the Running Rebels, man, that place was just electric. They were as big as basketball fans as you'd ever want to find anywhere.
Oh, my God, yeah. That team, that 91 team or 91, 92 team, they were fun to watch. Like they kind of changed college basketball for a while.
And Las Vegas is becoming such a bigger city, or a bigger sports city, Coach. You've got the NFL there. You've got the NHL there. They used to keep all the sports out of there because of the gambling, but they finally have gotten around that. And it is becoming not only just a big city because it's a big growing city, has been for a long time, but the sports there just continues to grow.
It really does. And they really rallied around the Golden Knights. That was the year the Golden Knights went to the finals, was the year that they had the unfortunate shootings here. And then former Indiana ball boy John Gruden is the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's another Indiana tie.
Wait a minute, he was a former Indiana ball boy?
I didn't know. His dad was the assistant football coach at one time when he may have been 11, 12 years old.
Did not know that.
They actually told that story on TV. I heard the Grudens talking about that not very long ago. Just on ESPN, they were telling the story about him being a ball boy at Indiana.
Did not know that. Oh my gosh, the things you learn. It's funny. Well, Coach, man, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to get up to be with us today, because I know it's a little early out there. But, man, we really, really appreciate it, and we wish you nothing but great success and the best of luck and hopefully the upcoming season that we've got.
Yeah, we're hopeful for that too, and this is a day-by-day opportunity right now, so you just focus on the moment at hand, and hopefully we get things under control here in our country, and we can get back to some form of normalcy. And you wish everyone health and safety, and we'll keep going forward.
Coach, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.